Hey everybody, and welcome to the Indie Hour. We're back with, episode 37 today. This is getting crazy. We got so many episodes done, hitting on 50 different games covered. And today we are back with Kill Sample Process. Now, if you haven't seen this show before, this is a patron-produced show on the GMG Patreon where we cover different indie games that we think deserve more attention. The patrons nominate games to go into a huge poll. We usually have about 20 on the go at any given time. And then every week they vote on them. And we pick a game to cover, give a feature to, go through the rules of, talk about, where'd you get the miniatures for, and just sort of get more attention because there are lots of games out there, lots of them miniature agnostic, lots of them with great like STLs you can print, or, small print miniature games in even metal that you can kit bash for, design for, and they all need a little bit of love. And so this is the point of this show, is that we sort of shine a spotlight on the darker corners of indie gaming and show you stuff you might not have seen before if you're in sort of the mainstream ecosystem of things like Games Workshop or Steam Forged or Corvus Belly. So let's take a look at Kill Sample Process. Now, if you've heard of Forbidden Psalm, based on the Morkborg universe of like Doom RPGs, this is the third title, although they might have done some other stuff in between by the author of Forbidden Psalm and The Last War. This is Kill Sample Process, a cyborg miniature game. So think Judge Dredd, dystopian future, cyberpunk, and all like published in a beautiful little punk scene. It is a standalone miniature game and RPG setting from the creator of Last War and Forbidden Psalm, inspired by and fully compatible with the Cyborg tabletop RPG and other Forbidden Psalm miniature games. You can use any suitable miniatures of your own, build custom minis for the game, and solo and co-op rules are included. And the all contents are fully compatible with the Cyborg TTRPG. It's a small-scale skirmish game where you play with a crew of 5 minis per player against an AI-controlled hostiles in scenarios that take you all across the neon hellscape of Cy. Play as enemies cooperatively or solo, and it's totally standalone, so you can play this however you want. You don't need any other books. The core rules are in here. You're going to get tons of stuff to add to what you want. Like if you're already playing Forbidden Psalm and Last War, so this is kind of give you more additional content for those games, like hacking programs, drugs, new guns and weapons, and you could travel through time and have your doomed sort of like fighters and warband from Forbidden Psalm join the Kill Sample Process if you want as well. It's available on Drive-Thru RPG. I think it's $10 US. $14 Canadian. I just grabbed a copy off of here. It also comes with stickers. These are cool. The stickers include a bunch of just fun decals, but also some additional rules and a measuring gauge, and an alternate cover as well. This was, I think, the limited edition hardcover cover that you could get. So let's take a look and dive in to Kill Sample Process. One of my favorite things about these games, and this is true of this game as well, is that you get a whole bunch of stuff in here just to inspire you even before you start picking up your miniatures and deciding what you want to use. So, for instance, in this game, we get some background, some setting, but we also get the ability to either choose or procedurally generate our warband. And if you choose to procedurally generate at the beginning, then you can kit bash afterwards. So let's talk about the background. Mankind poisoned this land, replacing the natural with metallic monoliths, obviously your big buildings. Subverted and exploited in the holy name of profit, ground beauty and freedoms to ash for infinite growth. The world rebelled, boiled against the march of progress, and in all you stand eking out a slice of your own. Life is cheap, brutal, and doomed. Fight for wealth, your crew, or rebel against the machine that doesn't even know you exist. It's a corporate hell. Sounds familiar. And here's another inside cover. Kill, sample, and process. All right, so the basics. You measure in inches. Modifiers can get pluses and minuses. These are typically the roll, and they all stack. If you're reading the digital version of this book, click on page numbers to return to the contents page. Dice rolls, they're all abbreviated as DR, and typically you have a DR of 12, unless otherwise noted. You're trying to hit it on D20, and you get plus and minuses trying to hit that number. So 12 or better is usually your threshold to do anything, and various modifiers can modify that. So unless it says otherwise, you're trying to roll a 12 on a D20 and add your stat, or subtract if it's a bad stat. Converting. So basically just a nomenclature thing. If you're playing The Last War or Forbidden Psalm, then your warband or crew is a crew, scrolls and manuscripts are programs, spellcasters and witches are hackers, omens and orders are glitches, monsters are hostile. So it's just a nomenclature, but it's all going to be functionally the same thing. All costs are in creds, and manuscripts and scrolls are replaced by programs because you're hackers. You're doing cyber witchery as opposed to anything else. And you can also bring over your warbands if you want as well. All right, so creating a crew, nice and simple. Again, I've said this in my reviews for Last War and for Forbidden Psalm. I love when you start with the miniatures. You start at the beginning with the models. So select 5 models, assign each model a name and a handle, select 2 special crew members, allocate their stats, roll a flaw, roll a feats. It's all gonna be random, and you can may re-roll a cyber mod or a mutation for each crew member. So like, basically you could either be a mutant, you'd be living in the downslopes of all the pollution and have some kind of mutation, or you could have been hacked up by some kind of doc and turned into a cyborg. And then finally, spend 1,000 creds on equipment. So this is the super like build your own crew. We got, oh my god, we got a D100 table like right off the bat. I love it. I love a D100 table. I would probably use the names to dictate what models I decide to use, and then go pick models based on this. This is 9 times out of 10 where I'm going to start. We got a D100 and then some D20s. So you roll a D20, like this, it sounds so stupid, but I love the fact that it says roll a D4 on this table, but then it gives you A, B, C, D. It's like Buzz from Home Alone. First, 2, and C. That's a joke. I love laying in Home Alone jokes. So your name could be something like Sapper Mirror, or Kai Discord, or Dallas App, Cloud Biddy, so stupid, Override Clip, and then Smith Yellow. Just whenever we make these names up, it makes me so happy, and I will usually base my miniatures around this. So procedure generated crew is the best part of most of these KRD design games. All right. Special crew members. So these are kind of like your gunners were in Forbidden Sun the Last War if you've played that, but basically you get 2 positional troops. You can have a hacker that's pre-programmed, it's kind of like having a witch in the other games, or a wizard. Disconnected means you get no augments. You get an ancient rifle and a single magazine for free because you're not a connected person. It would kind of like being old person in the Horus Heresy. Proxy fights via a free proxy robot, can never die, and replaces their proxy if it's destroyed for free, can be deployed as normal if they decide to. So a proxy is basically, you're at home like in a, what was that movie called? The Electric State. What a great bit of art that was a terrible movie. You're like the robots in the Electric State, the ones that Giancarlo Esposito's wearing, where you're a face on a screen. A counter hacker gains free circuit level gateway cyber mods, free disconnect program, and 1 other random free program. So you're designed to kill hackers. Basically, it's like a killer hacker in Infinity. Drone operators. So you get to get a free military drone, an ex-corpsec guy. So you get a taser pistol and corpsec body armor. So you're like a runaway or retired corporate security guy. A prawn. Get a free arc rifle and +1 strength. You're the dude from District 9. You're the bug guy from District 9. Old school. You get a free katana, the Butch feat, and 1 other feat. Cyber Vampire, as an action, you can target a model with a cyber mod within an inch and disable it, and you heal D4. And the cyber mod's considered broken because you eat their cybernetics. And then you're basically the alien from what's that movie called? Virus. You can be a doc for adrenaline shots and trauma kits, and then a Phoenix. Start the experience with C9 explosives. Now, again, you get to generate your 2 stat lines. So basically, you can pick one of these 2. Either the I've stat dumped, or I'm kind of generally fairly even across the board. Stat dumped is you get a +3 and a +1, but you get 2 zeros and a -3 as well. And then, so you have a dump stat, and then the other one's fairly even. It's a +2, a +2, a 0, a -2, and a -1. So if you look, it all adds up, right? You're going to have a +4 mod and a -3 mod across your whole stat line, no matter who you are. And you assign these to the 5 stats that you like. Now, there's a new stat. Agility. So weapons will have different like stat bases. So like some like a bow and arrow typically would fire off of agility because it's like your hand-eye coordination. Your strength might be used for something like a big sledgehammer if you're going to hit somebody. Your movement will also be based on agility. And so, for instance, if your agility is +3, your base movement is 5 modified by your agility. So you'd move 8 inches a turn. If your agility is -3, you'd be moving 2 inches per turn because you don't have fast legs. The new one is knowledge, and you use that for hacking and pushing buttons because this one's got some Infinity style button pushes in it. that you're going to want to assign your stats to. So I'd roll a cool name. So let's say I rolled, I don't know, Madeline Ice. That sounds like a hacker name. I would pick for them to be like, or a counter hacker. And then I would give them probably the +2 in knowledge and +2 in presence, and then a -1 in agility, or a -1 in strength, a -2 in toughness, and a 0 in agility. So they'd move basically the normal movement rate. Their strength would be a little low. Their toughness would be super low because they're hackers, right? So they're not going to be a super tough human being. They're not like physically fit, but then they're really good at knowledge and really good at presence. So your health is equal to your toughness modified by 8. So like if your toughness was -2 in that case, they should have toughness of 6 as your health points. When crew members get to 0 HP, they're down. If they take any damage afterwards, they're killed. It's basically like an unconscious dead state. All lost health is regained between scenarios, and down models must pass a death save after each scenario to see if they live or die. And then we get flaws and feats. So this is another cool thing about that kind of makes this author's games unique, is every model has a personality, and you roll randomly what their personality is to see like, to sort of see like how you might model them or paint them. And I like doing this before I actually collect my miniatures. So like a wannabe punk, people see through them. All items cost 50 more creds for them to equip at creation. You're basically a Hot Topic punk. You're wearing an Invader Zim t-shirt, even though you were born long after it went off the air, and you've got like, I don't know, like a bad tattoo. You got a bad tattoo of like a, I don't know, like a rose on your neck. No, shout out to anybody who got a rose neck tattoo. You know who you are. Debt, crews with this member earn 50 less creds per scenario. Dude's got like huge gambling debts. Rube, DR for hacking Rube is only DR 9. So if someone wants to hack you, you're just really, really easy to get one over on. And then feats are things that are cool about you. So like you're Butch, you're +3 to melee attacks with katanas, because you're Butch from, if that's a, it's a Pulp Fiction reference. Burst of speed, once per scenario, you can move 9 inches in action. Zorro, don't provoke attacks back with melee weapons, so nobody can hit you back with a melee weapon. A firewall, you're -3 to hack this model. A combat medic, you can heal down models an inch for D4 with a presence test, because you're good at like patching people up. Tears in Rain, there we go, that's a Blade Runner reference. If model ever dies, they're replaced by an exact copy of them, because you're a replicant. God damn it. And then mods. I really, 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 really like the art in this book. They did such a good job of this. Modifications. Noise-free servos. No more squeaks and clicks. Install more mods, including defensive tasers and more. A new U from KTEL makers. Recharge rates may vary. Can I recharge up to 4 hours charge time from one shaky wrist? Crew members can get Cybermods installed. When a crew member installs Cybermod, they must make a toughness test against DR12. On a failure, it gains a flaw. On a fumble, it becomes an unmet and leaves the crew. Basically, you have to leave because like you're just a weirdo freak now. And you can spend 100 creds between scenarios to repair a broken Cybermod. They don't have any equipment. There's no limit to the amount a single member can have. You can just be like mostly cyborg. You get brain in the jar. If a crew member rolls a 1 when using a Cybermod, they must roll in the malfunction table on page 19, and all of them have the cyber keyword. And they are flawed. They fumble on a roll of 1 or 2. Need a hand, so hand implants. Mind over matter, so brain implants. Eye for an eye implants. Running man, foot implants. So things like Edward, user installs katanas in their arms, works as a weapon but doesn't take up an equipment slot. Running man, a go-go gadget, 200 creds. User ignores terrain that's less than 4 inches tall, moving over as if it wasn't there. You literally have go-go gadget legs. Your legs go up and down. And then defend yourself, hidden carry. So you can have a weapon installed on your body with the ranged and cyber keywords. Weapon otherwise acts as normal but doesn't count towards your equipment slots. And then taser hands. Instead of reloading after use, the taser recharges as long as the character moves 3 inches. You still get a taser in your hand. And you get an auto injector to heal you. When a crew member uses a Cybermog and fumbles, they should roll for the table below and see what happens. So malfunctions are things like it's disabled and unusable for the rest of the scenario. It explodes and is destroyed, and the crew member rolls a random injury, right? Because these aren't necessarily the best ones. Then we get mutations. Whenever instructed during the game, you should roll on this table and see what it is. So you may roll randomly for a mutation or Cybermod at crew creation. If you roll the same one twice, the mutation's lost. It actually goes away. So X-ray, the crew member can target models that are behind 1 inch or less of terrain. Drawbacks, -3 to attack models in line of sight. So you can see through things, but that means when they're in the open, you see through them. Xeno, so your blood's acid. Thick skull, you're meant to being dazed and stunned, but you're -1 presence and -2 knowledge. Hairy eyes, -1 all presence tests. It's just bad. Croc, you become a Croc man. Gain a bite attack at strength D6 and natural 1 armor. Can't use hacking programs. You get precog, you telekinetic. So all the usual bells and whistles for mutations. You're basically the mutants from what's it called? From the Paul Verhoeven version, Total Recall. All right, all kinds of cool equipment and guns. And again, all these will have a number you'll notice because you can randomly generate these during the game. So like there's a D6 worth of equipment. You get adrenaline shots, trauma kits to heal you, an LED torch, a unicorn backpack. It counts as an equipment slot, but provides 3 extra slots on top of it. So basically you get to add 2 slots. Whiskey. And then armor, like homemade armor, corpsec, cool issue armor, a bike helmet, an exoskeleton. Costs 1,500 creds. Reactive armor, vengeance. When a weapon makes a melee attack with a melee weapon, the attacker takes D4 damage. So you're just covered in spikes. And then we've got proxy robots. When a model activates a drone or AI drone, it can move and perform an action with special ability. So a proxy robot's basically a crew member. They gain the following stats automatically. Agility -1, knowledge -1, presence -1, but strength +3, toughness +2. And they're immune to disease, gas, and poison, have cyber keyword. And if they go to 0 hit points, they're destroyed. So you become a robot version of yourself, but you don't use your stats. Because you stay home. We got drones, different kinds of drones you can buy for your drone pilot. And then a gajillion guns, revolvers, smart pistols, heavy pistols. And what stat you roll on at the end is going to be what you attack with, right? So like the first 3 pistols there and the one-handed weapons the first 2 are presence, whereas the heavy pistol is strength because it's heavy. The taser's agility because you're trying to hit somebody with little leads basically to electrocute them. Ancient rifles, that's cool. So it's like a machine gun, a sawed-off shotgun, smart rifles, smart gun. So it's the smart gun from Aliens. Pulse rifles. Arc guns, guided rifles, cyber crossbows. You can fight somebody with a broken bottle, because of course you can. And then 2 melee weapons are a katana, because why not? A mono sword there too. And then consumables, Molotov cocktails, smoke grenades, tear gas, homemade guns, like grenades, like a pipe bomb, stun grenades, C9, and an Omega bomb destroys the whole world, kills everyone. So I guess the Alpha Omega bomb's probably not usable in the game. It's 99,000 credits. So if you can get 99,000 credits, I don't even see, there's not even like a thing on it. But you can destroy terrain with the C9. The Alpha Omega bomb though is just going to blow up the whole world. And it's in there for funsies, I guess. I would try and buy one and blow up the world. Flamethrowers, cyber swords. These are all the special offers, so like the relics in other games. And there's a table for rolling random weapons, which is nice because it was a bit hard to roll. This is actually a big quality of life improvement from Forbidden Psalm and Last War. They just numbered the ones that were on the tables previously, and this having its own table is really nice. Cool ammos. He's gonna reload your weapons. You can buy an emo round. Model hit starts listening to emo music and cries, making their makeup runs, and they suffer -3 any range attacks for the rest of the scenario. That's an actual weapon. A nano round. Nanobots target a random piece of equipment, weapon, or armor of the target model who must pass the agility test. On a failure, it's lost forever because it gets eaten by little nanobugs. Oh, yeah. Brian changes that. I think the Alpha Omega bomb is a reference to Beneath the Planet of the Apes. That definitely is a reference to Beneath the Planet of the Apes. I didn't catch that. Good job. A morphine round. Down model stand back up with 1 hit point. And we got all our keywords here. It's going to be diseased. Model suffers -3 to all checks until cured. Burned. Target model makes a toughness test. On a failure, they're set on fire and take a damage each activation. They can use an action to put out the burn state. Cruel weapon always does at least 1 damage, regardless of your armor. Gas weapons, bleeding, take damage every turn. All right, then programs. Now, this is our version of magic in this game. So whereas previous ones would have a scroll you would find to use magic, and then you had witches who knew like hexes and stuff like that in the last war. You're hackers in this, right? It's technological magic. So programs can only target models that are equipped within 12 inches. This game plays on a 24 by 24 inch board typically, so that's not actually that short a range. Programs don't require line of sight to be used. They don't take up any equipment slots, and to use them, a model must first pass a knowledge test on DR12, right? So our imaginary character from before, the Ice, what is it, Princess Ice or whatever her name was, with her +2, she would be able to pass on a roll of 10 or better on a D20. So 50-50. She's slightly better, 55% chance. We got things like Panic, make the user perform a guts check or run away. Pacifist, weapon unloads its ammo and the ammo is lost. You basically like pop out a weapon with the reload and cyber keyword. Disconnect, any item, weapon, or other with the cyber keyword. Can't use the program for the rest of the scenario if it fails, but the effect is the piece of equipment turns off and its benefits are lost for the game. Overcharge, if you target a weapon with a cyber keyword, it gains EM ammo for the attack. Misfire, the nearest model makes an agility test. On a failure, they're hit with it to her own weapon and suffer its damage. Break stuff, a Limp Bizkit reference. Target with the cyber mod. Target chooses to have the cyber mod break or roll in the malfunctions table. And then SWAT, target list, call an enforcer hostile based on the wanted level of the crew on the board edge of the controlling player's choice. The enforcer is placed on a board edge close to the programmed user. So you basically bring in a neutral enemy model because you SWAT somebody. It's really funny. Singles near you. Any model. Pop-up ads fill their vision and they miss their next activations. They spend time closing them. Singles near you. That's what a great bunch of things. And then finally, bees. You can target a drone or proxy robot. The drone or proxy robot must make a knowledge test. On a failure, the programmed user takes them over for the rest of the scenario. Because you've got bees. And then your systems can crash and you get all these extra effects. This was like the Doom table in Forbidden Psalm, where like if you accidentally cast a spell around, the world might end. You can be tilted. Your mastery to all tests for this scenario are radioactive. You gain the random mutation because you get irradiated by your own program. When it rains, roll twice more and take both results and ignore bugs in these rolls. And then blue screen, a model shuts down and must spend an activation to reboot before they can take any other action. And now we've created our crew. Now we're going to know how to play. So you pick a scenario, set up the table, determine the conditions of the table, deploy per scenario rules, determine who goes first. And each game round, determine initiative, take it in turns to activate a single model, activate all the hostiles, and the game ends. So all the people go first, all the people, and then all the active players go first, then all the hostiles go, and then the game round ends. All right, doing actions. You get 2 actions. If a feat, status, or other rule triggers when a model is activated, do it before you do your actions, before movement. So you can move and then do something else. Actions, make a ranged attack, make a melee attack, use a piece of equipment or a feat, use a program, mutation, or cyber mod, pick up or drop any number of items on the ground or on dead and down models within an inch of you, and then drag a down model within an inch. Interact with loot or scenario items, and then make a second move as an action. So first action is always a move, second action is something else that you want from this list. D20 roll C goes first. Again, the core rules of this game are super simple. When you make an opposed test, you're rolling against the DR, and then people can hit you back in melee. Again, movement's always 5, modified by your agility. Combat to check range, check the stat modifiers, roll the attacks, apply the damage. And if you miss, you get to be attacked back with a -3 to the hit roll. You can throw any weapon up to 6 inches, but suffer -3 to the roll. And the weapon's placed on the ground next to your target if it hits or misses. Ranged weapons count as a one-handed makeshift melee weapon in combat. So you can still hit somebody with your ranged weapon if you want. And you still expend ammo when you fire, even if you miss. Damage, when you successfully hit with a weapon, you roll the damage chart, and then obviously your armor will reduce that damage. If you have 2 armor and someone hits you with a D6 damage weapon, you roll D6, you get a 5. You're doing 3 damage to that model. Some breakout from combat, dragging models who are down, guts chest, because you might run away. Fleeing combat due to guts does not trigger enemy attacks. Models make a guts check when they're either critically hit, somebody rolls a 20 and hits them, or they strike a downed enemy. Because if you step on someone's neck, you might feel guilty and then run away. And then, yeah, if you have to make a DR6 toughness test after you're like knocked out at the end of a game, and if you don't, you die. On assess, you might be injured instead. And some crew names here like Zip Red, or Face Knight, or Cookie Cloud. Pathetic example of Earth's organic heritage. And we got drugs. The cook. Look, I don't mess with that shit. You want it, you go buy it from a creepy ass cook. The fence is who you sell your items to. The cook is who's going to sell you drugs. Get some blue crystal or some rad juice to gain a mutation. Some red juice to heal. Vertigo. Mastery hit models with range weapons, but mastery don't range attacks. Dead man walk in, inject into an action into a downed or dead model. Model stands up and leaves the table. They're considered to have survived, but they automatically gain an injury. So basically, you just stand up no matter how injured you are and walk it off. Numb out. All damage effects by crew members reduced by 1. Downside minus 2 your presence and knowledge because you can't feel anything. Or super juice. You get +2 to every stat. At the end of the scenario, they're always treated as being down and must make a death save. So you're a juicer from Rifts, basically, where you have like the life clock because the drugs on you are so incredibly hostile, they're burning your body out. That was my favorite character class in Rifts. Rifts had some moments of real genius. The juicer was definitely one of them, where it's a dude who's just so full of drugs. They have like a 3-year life expectancy, but during that time, they're basically Superman. I loved the juicer because he could take mega damage and not die. And we got some background glitches. At the start of a scenario, players gain 6 glitches. Now, these are your, what are they called? Omens in Forbidden Psalm, basically. They're like 6 power moves you can pull over the course of the game. Maximum effort, obviously Deadpool, deal maximum damage. Deja vu, reroll any dice, yours or somebody else's. Insurance, remove a down model from play and auto pass your death save. Meta, cancel 1 crit or fumble. Connected, reroll on the loot table. And Deus Ex Machina, automatically pass a single test. Some AI stuff for the hostiles. Some yes-no, basically like trees for their behavior. And then they might run away. We've got all of our different types of hostiles here. So we got cyber rats, enforcers, the unmet, who are like super mutants, gangers, cult of the flesh, rad ghouls, mutants, nano-infested washbots, and the machine god. I love that he brings in different artists. Different levels of enforcers, robot enforcers, our little chappy bot here. Different drones, a 209 mech, a big mech. And so the enforcer is almost like the class. Finally, the machine god here. Yeah, this is the virus alien again. And then different gangers, different types of gangers, what they might have. When deploying a ganger, roll to determine what gang they're from. So the negligence facade, and they get different types of weapons and gear and abilities. The troglodytes, they get a revolver and a knife, but they're immune to all programs because they don't use, they're these guys. They don't, well, actually, these aren't the troglodytes. These are the enhanced ones. The unmet. Too much of a good thing can be detrimental to your health. Weak meat, and then the rest of them is cybernetics. What a great drawing. The nano-infested, again, we got virus. Rad ghouls. Washerbots. The Cyrat. Different mutants. It's great art in that mutant. Love the scary stories to tell in the dark cult of the flesh guy. He is so cool. That book scared the hell out of me. And we got a campaign. And there's RPG tags for the campaign as well. So you're living in basically a huge mega city called Cy. It's set in a neon hellscape. The world is broken. Surviving day by day is your goal. You can work for a fence to earn creds. Doc will patch you up and install faulty cyber mods. Cook will pay you well and provide you with the edge that you need. Or maybe you'll just fall down a rabbit hole. Across the net, strange messages have been appearing encoded in holo ads, placed on forums in the deepest parts of the net, or hidden in song lyrics to remix songs. V is watching. Little is known about the entity codenamed V, but what's certain is that they, as though they can work out what V wants, can earn themselves plenty of creds. The first communication attributed to V was hidden in the metadata of a retail website. It simply said it's time to burn it all down. So we've got a little vendetta coming from V here. 24 by 24 inch table. Everything measured in inches. Terrain should be used to reduce line of sight because you can't just shoot each other. And we got our loot table. And your wanted level, obviously, because you can have benefits and drawbacks to being wanted. So increase your wanted level by 1 each time a crew completes a scenario with at least 1 crew member surviving, kills any enforcer hostiles, and meets certain scenario objectives as detailed in the scenario. The benefits are, if your wanted level is higher than 10, you gain the following benefits. At the beginning of a scenario, you get 100 additional creds. When recruiting new crew members, they come with a random weapon because you're notorious. And we've got all of our different conditions like partial darkness because there's an energy crisis, or acid rain. All armor is reduced by 1. Machine God on round 3, a random machine God appears on the table. Power edge, apply darkness conditions. This is all the penalties and stuff for that. And we got our scenarios. I'm not going to go through all of them because you might want to play them in order narratively, but the first one, Dog Eat Dog World, is a basic like smash and grab. And you got our layouts for all of those. And then finally at the end of this, watch the world burn. We got our credits and our quick ref and some cool standees if you want to play it with standees, which I think is awesome. Our player character sheets for all of our crew members. And there's our injury table for if you go into action. If you roll a 1 on D12, it's worse than it looks. The model's dead. Lost a limb, see what kind of limb you miss. You can be broken and get another flaw. Maimed, reduce your hit points. Shaken, just worse for the next scenario. And the rest is fine. Fake it, no injury. Comorbidity, roll twice more and take both results. Brainworms, -1 presence, but +1 knowledge because you're the brain slime from Futurama. And then tired, model needs a nap and just misses the first activation of the next scenario. Antiquities, cool things you can find, cool weapons. And you get your XP system for the campaign. It's pretty much the same as Forbidden Psalm. Make your death saves. You can pay the doc to like patch you up as well. Sell stuff to the fence. Increase the weapon crew's water level by 1. You also lower it by 1 for every 100 creds you spend. And then gain and spend XP. You get 1 XP per hostile kill, loot connected, scenario with at least 1 member of the crew surviving, model you down, death saves passed, and crew members who died. For every 5, you can increase a stat, reroll flaw, gain a new feat, bring a single crew member back from the dead, although they come with a new flaw, and then hire new crew members. And that's it. Credits. And we're done. A standalone miniature game inspired by and compatible with Cy-Børg from KRD Designs. So we did it. Another one. This time around, a cool cyberpunk dark future game from Will at KRD Designs. And thanks to the patrons for picking this. It's been a while. It's been, I think, 2023 this came out. And it came out like just back to back to back. KRD did Forbidden Psalm and then Last War, and then this came out. And I think most of us were like still finishing our Forbidden Psalm campaigns and digging into Last War when this hit. And honestly, we were just getting too much of a good thing. Like this game, I don't think I covered at time because I was still doing Last War. And it was just, I was like so in the midst of the current game I was playing from this publisher that I didn't get a chance to get to this one, but I'm very inspired to do something with it in the near future because I have not played a Psalm game since Last War. I should finish Last War because I think we're 2 missions out from the end of it. And then jump into this and do some more. So let me know in the comments what you think if I should finish off Last War and then jump into this one. But other than that, big thanks for the patrons for picking it and for you guys for watching. We're going to hang out now afterwards because we do a bit of additional stuff with the patrons when the recording ends, like a little hangout afterwards, talk about the game, talk about where we might get models from, and start picking the next one for next week. So if you're watching this live on YouTube, this was filmed the week prior with the patrons. We do a little backstage behind the scenes stuff. About probably 30 minutes of additional content for you guys to check out if you want to go and check it out by becoming a GMG patron. If not, I will see you next week for more Indie Hour. Bye, everybody.